Okay, so till previous session, we had gone through with few of the methods um, that we have in array, and we had discussed few of them regarding what is like push method, what is shift, what is the use of length property, and then what is splice method, what is slice method, push, pop, unshift, shift, length, splice, and slice. These were the things we had discussed till now. So there are few other popular which I'll discuss, which is like index of, sort, reverse, toString, join, and concat method. So I'll give you the brief about these things, and there are again few more popular one, which we have like for each, then we have map, then we have filter, we have one more called reduce, we have sum, each, and few other things. Those things are basically require some understanding of the functions. So that will be discussed in the later section, which is like after completion of the functions. So few of them are still important that we'll discuss in the today's session. So we'll discuss till slides. Let's talk about index of. So what happened in index of? So whenever we use index of method, it returns the first index of the element in the array. So what it will try to do is it will try to find out the value that it takes inside an array, inside index of method. So the syntax of this is array dot index of, then it will take a value over here. So whatever the value you provide inside this index of, it will try to search whether this value is available inside the array or not. So whatever the array that we have, that we basically have inside that array, it will try to check whether the value is available inside the array or not. So let's say, for example, we declare a new array, which is, you can give let, var, or const, any keyword, and then let's say we say it as fruits equals to, I'm just trying to declare a random one, or it's, let's say courses equals to JS, TS, Java, Python, Selenium, CSS, HTML, again JS. So I've just declared this one of array known as courses, and these courses are having 8 values over here. So what index of method does is, whenever you try to find out, whenever you write something called as, let's say, courses dot index of, and you try to find out some values that you have declared that you want to find from this particular array, okay? Then it will try to start the searching from index 0. So in general, what happens is like the syntax of index of will be value, and then there will be again one another parameter, which will be again an optional. It says that from which index you want to start searching from. So as we know, in array, index starts from 0. It says that like index of, if you just give the value, then by default, this start index will be considered the first element, that means 0th index. If you provide some value over here, then from that particular index, it will start searching in the array. So let's see how it is. So let's see how it is happening here. So what I'm trying to say here is I'll just print without taking into consideration of uh, uh, any other variable. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just iterating through courses, and then we are saying that index of, we are using the array as a courses, and we are saying that index of is taking one particular value over here. So this value, it will search in the courses array, and it will start searching from the 0th element, and wherever it found the first value, it will print the value, print the index of this particular value. Okay, it will just print the index of this particular value. So we can say if you print, so if you just try to print this will give you the index of first JS wherever it is matching, which we can see here as 0. So this is that if you do not provide the second start index, if you do not provide the start index from where it has to search inside inside an array, then it will start from the first, like 0th element, and it will keep on searching for wherever it finds, it will provide the index of this particular value. Okay. In the same way, let's say if you just provide again JS and you say that you start searching from the third index onwards. Example. So start index, I've given here a third, which is like 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will start searching from the Python onwards, and it's keep on continuing till the end. Wherever it find again JS, then it will print the value. So that is what the definition is like. It returns the first index of an element in the array. If the element is not found, then it returns -1. If the element will not be available, then it will basically return you -1. And now if you try to print, here it has printed the index as 0, and here it will print the index as 7, as it is finding at the last, because we are trying to search from the third index onwards. Yeah. So you can see here for the first one, it has given you the 0 index, and for the last one, it is 7. It's just because it is not searching from the starting, whereas it had started searching from the third index onwards. Okay, and let's do another thing. So you can also do in this way. Let's say you say it as courses dot index of, and then take some value which is like, say, Python, and you can store, because we know that it will return you an index value. So you can store in one variable, let's say called an index, and this you can print it out. This you can print out here. So what is happening here is we are using the same method, which is the courses.index of, and we know that this index of will return the index. If it finds the value, then it will return an index. If it did not find, then it will return -1. So in any case, it will return some value. So that is what we are trying to store inside a variable, whatever the value it returns. And that variable we are trying to print out over here. So if you see here, we do not have Python, which is starting with lowercase letter p inside these courses. So here, if you try to print out, we will get the value as -1, because it says that there is no Python available which is starting with lowercase. We have one Python which is having a p as uppercase. So this is what the use of index of. Index of will basically give you or return you the index of the element, index of the first element by searching in the inside the array. Okay. Okay. Um, then we'll move to the next one, which is called sort. Sorting of an array. So how do we sort an array? Or how do we use the method of like sort method in an array is like it basically sorts the element of an array in place and returns the array. So what it does is it will sort in an ascending order. Let's say if you have numerical, let's say if you have numerical array, uh, let's say if you have numeric array, then all the value will be sorted in a numerical order, which is like ascending order of the numeric. Okay. So if you have this particular array, then the sort will be uh, then the sort on this array will be performed like all the values will be sorted in ascending order. So that means like 1, 2, 3. If there are three, then 3, 4, 5, and so on will be printed over here. As we generally know, like how do we sort an array in an ascending order, or how do we sort integer in an ascending order? So it will start like 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So in the same way, the numeric array will be sorted out if you use the sort method. Second, let's say if you just try to do some kind of string variable, let's say string array, we have something called as, let's say, apple, banana, JS, TS. Then say 1, 2, 3, 1, 5, and 3. Okay, so uh, we have declared one array, which is called as mixed array. It is having some value as a string and some value as an integer. Okay. Now, if you try to sort this out, if you use a sort method to sort the array, what it will do is, if inside the array, if there are numeric value, then numeric value will come first. This will be first sorted and it will be printed. So it will become, if you use sort method, then it will be first the numeric. If there are numeric values inside the array, then numeric will be sorted first. So it will be something like 1, 3, 5. Then what happens is, like, if there are any capital letters in the array, those will be sorted out first. So let's say if you just give over here as TS and here as JS. So these capital letter will be sorted out after numeric, and then lower letters will be sorted out based on whatever the value that you have given in array. Okay, so if you just try to sort, let's say console.log mix array dot sort. If you use this, that will give you the value as, we can see, like the first numerical values have been sorted, then capital letter, and then lower letter. So this string value will be sorted in um, like alphabets order. So A, B, C, and so on. It will be sorted. Even the capital letters will be sorted in alphabets order itself. But if there are capital letters string value inside an array, then that will be given a preference before sorting the lowercase letter. Understanding?
Yes, bro.
Yes, Praveen.
So see, now let's see what happened here. So if you see the second line of the sort, right, it says that the sort is not stable and does not reserve the order of equal state, equal elements. So whenever you use uh, a numeric array or numeric values inside an array, so this sort will not work in a proper way. You can see like it has printed 1, 10, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you just give somewhere around, let's say, give 20 and also 30. So you will see that first it will be printed 1, then 10, then 2, then 20, then 3, then 30, and then 4, 5, 6 will come into picture. So why it is happening is, we can say like 1, it is considering these double digit value as the first, like, which is, it is comparing with the first value which is appearing as 1. That is why it is printing 10 over here. Then again 2, then again it is comparing with uh, the first value which is like 2, so it has printed 2, 3, 30, and so on. So that is why it says that the sort is not stable and does not preserve the order of equal elements. This happens whenever we try to use on the numeric part. Whereas if you use numeric, whereas if you try to use on the string variable or string value that you have inside an array, that will work in a proper way. Whereas if you use numeric, then it will not give you the correct order, because it tries to check the first digit and there it says that, okay, it is 1, so it will just print after the 1 itself. Even though it is 10 or 100 or 1000, it will just print you just after the 1 if it is matching in the sequential order. So you can select 1 and 100. So how do we sort then? If we have numerical array to sort out, how do we sort them? So we have one anonymous function that it can take. Sort. Inside the sort, we can write one anonymous function, which says that you can write a compare function. You can basically write a function to sort it out. In general, in JavaScript, to write this, to sort this out, we'll have to write at least like 7 to 8 lines of code by just taking the index, then compare with the next index. And then if it is greater than, then take a temp variable and then store inside that and so on, right? Whereas in JavaScript, you can write a function which will sort over here in a single line itself. So whenever you use sort for numeric, what you can do is you can take a two variable with anonymous function. I'm just writing anonymous function. So what is anonymous function is a function which will not have any name. A function which will not have any name. So I'm not writing any function name over here. And I'm just saying like A, comma B is a two arguments. So what it will do is it will take first argument, first parameter, and it will take second parameter. And with these two, it will try to compare whether both are greater than or which one is greater than. So what we are trying to say is do a minus B. So what is meant by this? So it will say like we have taken AB and then you, so okay, as this is this you'll come to know, like, once we understand what is functions. So this is one type of anonymous function where we do not give any name and we just declare a parenthesis and whatever the parameter that it takes. And then this is known as a pipe symbol, fat pipe symbol. This is also known as arrow function. Okay, arrow function is again an anonymous function which will not take any, which will not have any function. So what we have declared over here is we have just declared a parameter inside a parenthesis, just two parameters, A and B. We are using arrow function and then we are saying do a minus B. So whenever A minus B returns a positive value, that means the first value is greater than. So this value will not be swapped with the second value. If a minus b is equals to 0, then both of the value will be at the same place because it says that, okay, both of the value are same. And if a minus b is less than 0, that means the b is greater than 6, b is greater than a. So it will just reverse the value, reverse the string of the value. So let's say here, if it is like 6 and 7, 7 is greater, so it will give you the minus. This will give you -1. It can be -10 as well. So if anytime it occurs with the minus as a result, then this value will be swapped with this one automatically, and we do not have to write any other things to sort this array. So we can just use like anonymous function over here, which is like start with parenthesis, enter 2 parameters, and then arrow function, and then whatever we want to do here, like we want to check with a minus b whether, like, if first is greater than 7, then keep it at the same place. If first is less than 7, then first the that means if first is less than second, then second will be replaced with the index of first value, and then first value index will change to second, and then we keep on continuing uh, in the same way. So if you see now, if you just try to print it out, you can see that it is now printing us in a ordered manner, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20, 30, and 100. Okay, so this I'll discuss even in the function part. Do not worry for that. Once we start function, we'll start with this as well. Okay, so this was sort. Then I'll see one more function called as reverse. So reverse function, basically it reverses the order of the element in array. In the array in place and returns the array. So what happens is, like, whenever you use, like, so let's say whenever we use any array and we have some kind of element which is like JS, TS, this one and so on. So and you try to use reverse method on this particular array. So all the elements will be reversed. That means here currently it is starting from JS, TS, Java, Python, and so on. Now after using reverse method, it will be like JS, HTML. So the value will be printed from the right side of the array, but not from the left side of the array. That is what it happens. It just reverse the order of the element. That's it. In by using reverse method. So if you just try to print like console.log, then courses before reversing, and after reversing also we can check it out like console.log courses.reverse, right? So we can compare over here what it is trying to print as the value. So if you see here, it is giving us JS, TS, Java, Python, and so on. And in after using the reverse method, you can see it had just printed in a reverse order, which is like JS, TS, then CSS here, then Selenium, and so on. So reverse method will just reverse the order of your element. Okay. Now we'll see one more, which is called as toString. ToString method.
Praveen, 1 second. Can you explain this reverse again once? I missed actually.
Right. So reverse method is it will basically change the order of an element in the array. So let's say if you have an array which is starting with like this banana, apple, and so on, then reverse method will do that. It will just reverse the order of the element. Instead of printing from left to right, it will print the value from right to left. So what it says is, whatever the last value will be there, that will become your first value. Then second last will become the second value. Third last will become the third value, and so on. So just reverse. This will not do any sorting kind of things. It will just reverse your array. So if your array is this, then this value will be reversed and this will go to the end. And the last value will come to the first. The second value will go to the second last, and second last value will come to the second place. Okay, so this will just reverse your array, but will not do any sorting kind of things.
Can you clear this one and can you run once?
Right.
So it will clear for me.
So let me do this with this one, so you'll understand it in a better way. So we have this one as a array, and if you try to print it out, you can see here. Before reversing the value, it is like 135 JS TS apple banana, and after using the reverse, it just printed the value in reverse order, which is like banana, apple, TS, JS 531.
I got it. Yeah, you can continue. Yeah.
Right. So next is, it says that toString. ToString is again a method which returns a string with all elements of the array separated by comma. What is meant by this is basically whenever you use a toString method on array or any other things, it will be all the elements of the array will be converted as a string. So we see here it is printed in an array manner. How do we know that an array manner is? Starting with square bracket and ending with square bracket. So this is called as array. If you do not see like um, square bracket, then that is a normal string value, right? So toString says that whenever you use toString method on any array, all the elements of the array will be converted as string, and it will also be printed as string itself. So if you try to do something like this one, which says that mix array dot toString. So if you use this one, it says that here in the mix array, we can see that it has printed in array itself, which is starting square bracket and ending square bracket. Wherever you see in JavaScript, which is having start square bracket and end square bracket, this will be considered as an array. How do you know that whether that is an array or not? So let's say let here are equals to, I've just given empty array over here. I'm not trying to utilize anything. I think I discussed this. If not, then okay. So how do you know? How do you know any variable that you have declared? So let's declare it as variable equals to 10. We know that whenever you want to check whether this variable is a single variable like array or not, if this is array or not, what you can do is you can just hover on this and it will say you it is a number. And if you hover on this, it will say like any. That means it does not know what kind of value it can have. So how do you check whether this variable is a normal variable and having a data type? You can one hover. Second, you can use type of uh, function, right? To check. So what I mean to say is like you can just use like this as well, and you can also give inside this like this to check whether this particular variable is uh, a type of what data type. So you can say that it is saying number, right? Number as a data type over here. In the same way, if you want to check, uh, if you just want to check whether this particular value that we have declared, which is this one, is an array or not. So to check that, you can use console.log. We have a function inside an array, which is called as array.isArray. And then you put the array name over here, just like array4. If it is array, then it will print you the true value. If it is not array, then it will print you the false value. So you can see like it is printing us true. Now let's say I'm just trying to check whether the normal variable that I have declared is an array or not. In this case, you will see it is throwing us a false. So uh, if it is really an array, then it will give you the true value by using isArray method of arrays, and then it will try to either print you true or false. So we were trying to discuss over here, like whenever we use two string method, all the elements of the array will be converted as a string, and then everything will be printed as a string with comma separated. So we can see here everything now here has been printed as a string value with a comma separated. Okay, but it has not printed in array manner. It has just printed in like in just normal string kind of. Let's say if we execute the code, you can see it has given us banana, apple, and so on by just printing those value as a string with comma separated. Okay, I think this is a simple one, a normal one as well, which works in the same way in other programming languages as well. Now, one more we have is join method. So what join method does is, this join method will concatenate all elements of the array into a string. It will basically concatenate all the elements. Okay. So what is meant by concatenation? Concatenation means it will just add all the values. Add in the sense it will keep on printing after each value that we have in string. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to use this array, whatever the value we have. So when we say like this will be concatenated, so that means this will become banana, apple, ts, js 153 without any uh, comma over there in between. So let's understand what is join method. It says it concatenate all elements of the array. Syntax is array.join, and then it optionally required a separator as well. Optionally required a separator as well. Why I'm saying optionally, I'll just give you the example. If separator is not provided, you can see here, if separator is not provided, it concatenates all elements with a comma and a space. Right. So it says that if separator is not provided, this is a statement. It concatenates all element. Just it will concatenate all element without any commas. Without any commas or space. Okay. So if you try to do like, let's say, let's go dot log on mix array, we'll use join. Let's say we are providing just a normal something as empty string. Let's say I'm just trying to provide an empty string. That means I'm not providing any constructor separator. I'm just providing a separator as empty string. So what happened in this case is this will become in a single word itself, or everything will be concatenated, and there will be no separator. Like it will not be comma separated as we are seeing here in terms of toString. It will not have any other separator, but everything will become a single word itself. You can see like here, banana, apple, tsjs 531. But if you just try to give a space, that means join, we are trying to use join, which will concatenate all the elements by using a space. So after every element, there will be one particular space that you can see here. If you provide here like comma separated, then everything will be displayed in the comma separated manner. If you just provide a hyphen, then every element or every value of the array will be displayed with a separator as hyphen. You can also print it as like by just giving a pipe symbol. So it will be print you in a normal tabular format kind of, which is like banana, then pipe, then apple, So this became again a column format kind of things as we see in the table. So this is what the use of join. Um, this is what the use of join method for an array. Okay. Then we have a few other function which is known as for each. A few other method which is known as for each, map, filter, use, sum, each. So these are few of the methods still left out, which I'll explain after explaining the function, because uh, these methods will require a parameter as a function. So all these uh, 5, 6 methods require a function as a parameter to evaluate some of the values. That is why I'll discuss it out after going through with the function. Okay. So any doubt that you have in terms of arrays method?
No
No,
problem.
Praveen.
Fine. So then let's move to the another concept, which is known as functions. So functions in JavaScript. So what is function? The definition will always be same in any other programming language. Either you use JavaScript or Java. So it says that a JavaScript function is a block of code. Is a block of code means what is block of code? So block of code is something which will be uh, written inside a starting curly brace and ending curly braces, right? So it says that a JavaScript function is a block of code designed to perform a particular task or some task. It just try to perform some of the tasks that we can reutilize as well. It encapsulates a set of instruction that can be reused throughout a program. So what is meant by encapsulate is whatever you try to write inside function. Let's say, for example, here we are trying to divide, right? So the end user will not know what kind of operation that we are trying to perform. So end user in the sense, anyone, if they try to just use the my function as a uh, my function and call this particular function, they'll just know, okay, I have to just call my function and then give 2 parameters. But what is internally happening, they will not know what kind of operation it is happening inside. That is what it says, that encapsulate. That means other people will not be able to know what kind of operation that we are trying to perform inside the function. And they just know, okay, the function name is this, and I have to provide some kind of operation. So what happens is like, whenever you go to any application, right? I'll just try to explain you what is encapsulation over here. So what is meant by encapsulate? So whenever you go to any application and they'll ask you to fill a form, which is like, let's say login. Let's say they ask you to uh, log in into the application. So as an end user, what you know is like you just have to provide username and you have to provide password, and then you click on submit button. But internally, there are a lot of code have been written inside those functions to validate with whether your username is existing the database, password is correct or not, is matching with the database. Then it will do some kind of authorization. It will generate a token for your authorization to manage your session. And then it will perform, okay, your username and password is correct. You are also authorized. And then it will take you to the home page. But we never know like what kind of things is happening in internal function that the developer has written. But we only know that, okay, if we have to give username, password, and click on submit button, and it will take you to the home page. But internally, there are a lot of code that have been written to validate whether you are a correct user or not. That is what is meant by encapsulate. It says that functions can take parameters, execute statements, and return values. It can either return or it can directly print the value as well, enabling code organization, modularity, and reusability. So what is function is? Function is a block of code. It says that It basically gives you an organization of the code. That means you can write in a better way inside the function. Modularity and reusability. That means the maintenance will be very less whenever you write any kind of function. Let's say this one, and you have written one time, and then wherever it requires to use, you can directly call this function without writing again all the lines of codes. You can directly call the function by using function name. So this is what called as reusability. A JavaScript function is executed when something invokes. That means whenever it calls, then only it will execute. Though you have written 100 function, and if you are not calling at any point of time, then then this function will be of no use because we are not calling anything, right? So in terms of basic syntax used to be like this. There are different types of functions, different types of declaration of the function that we'll see just in a couple of minutes. But whenever you write a normal function, the syntax is like this: function, then function name. It can optionally take the parameter and then do some kind of operation inside the curly braces. That is why it is known as a block of code. Function is a block of code, which has been written inside a curly braces. Now, how do you call that value? Is by using the function name. So you can select my function 8 and 2. Now there is a question like, okay, this is okay. We have a function name, but when we say that an anonymous function, which is like a function will not even have the name. So how do we declare that? Right? How do we call those functions? Those things will just check like how do we uh, check or call those values. So what happened in those particular um, value is, or those particular function is, you have to declare this. You have to declare a variable to call that value. So whenever this is called as functional expression, function expression. You declare a variable and then you declare an anonymous function without having name. And this function can be called by using value like this value. And then this will take a parameter, whatever the parameter that you want. So we'll go through with it. So this is what the function is. The definition is a block of code designed to perform a particular task. And then it will be helpful in the reusability part where you write a function once and then utilize at many other places as well. So there are different types of function in JavaScript. Let's see what are like few of them in the today session. I'll wrap up fast because it will not have a lot of things to understand. We'll just have an understanding of declaration part that we'll see now. So we know that functions are a block of code designed to perform particular tasks. It is executed when you call or invoke the function. Let's say first type of function declaration is just a function declaration. Okay. The first is functional declaration. How do we do the functional declaration is the syntax for this is it will start with a keyword called function. Whenever you write a function in JavaScript, you can write in this way. This is the first way. You can write in like start with function keyword, then give some of the name of the function, which is like, let's say function name. Can optionally take the parameters, which is again like optional. Okay, I will not write here. It will give the confusion. So parameter is optional. And this will start with curly braces and ending curly braces. Okay. So this is the syntax of normal declaration of a function. it says that start with a keyword called function, then provide the function name. It can take either parameters or if it does not require, then no parameters. Then you write a function body inside the curly braces. Okay, so this is just a syntax of writing the function in JavaScript. Okay, so it says that function name, it can take parameter and then function body. Let's see how do we declare this as an example. So let's say we say that this function starting with a keyword called function. Understanding, right?
Yes, Praveen.
Yes, Praveen.
Okay, so it is starting with function, and then we say, like, let's say add just the name of the function. Anything you can give. I'm just trying to do an addition. So that is why I've given a function name as add. Anything, whatever it comes to your mind, or whatever in terms of like user defined, which user can easily identify, those kind of value you can give up over here in terms of function. Okay, so you say that function add, and then take a parameters, like take two parameters over here. Okay, so two parameters, let's say you have given like a and b, and then write function body. So what we're trying to say here is, we're trying to say this is a function with a name as add. It is taking two parameters over here. So how do we declare in other programming languages? Like, let's say in Java, you will have to write it as int a, int b, and so on. Whereas in JavaScript, you can just declare the variable. That's it. You don't have to even declare let or where or const keyword. You can directly give the parameter, whatever the parameter it is trying to accept. Okay, so it had started with function keyword. We have given a name as add. And then we are saying perform some kind of operation, which is like, let's say return a plus b. We are returning this function, right? So function can either return or it can either print the value over here. I'll show you that as well. So here we are trying to return. So whenever a function directly print the value, at that point of time, you just have to call and give the parameter. If it is trying to return some value, then you have to catch those value inside a variable. Okay, so here we are trying to return the value, right? So what it will return? It will return an addition of the a plus b. Now, how do we call this function? Our function name is add. So how do you call this function? It is like, again, you write the function name add and just give, it will also suggest you, like you can give a as any, b as any. That means a can be any value, b can be any value. So let's say I'm trying to give here 5, 10. Okay. So this is what the calling of the function is. How do we call the function is with the function name and whatever the parameters it has taken inside. Okay. So this is what called as function. Calling of the function. Now, as I said, it is returning, so we have to catch. Either you can, what you can do is either you can directly uh, try to print, which is like console.log, or you can take it inside, like let's say sum. Let's say we have declared a variable called sum by utilizing a keyword let. Let sum equals to add 5, 10. And now you can print console.log sum. Okay, so if you just try to execute this code, you'll see that functions.js. So you'll see that it is printing us 15 value. Okay, so this is a normal declaration of the function, which start with a function keyword, function name. It can take any of the parameters, and then it is returning us the value. Now let's say, as I said, like parameters can be an optional as well. So let's say how it works in general. So let's say we have again declaring a variable function, and then we are saying like, let's say it's just print. Okay, print is a keyword. So let's say great, just run it. It is not accepting. It is not having any kind of parameter that it has taken here, right? And also we have returned over here, so we had to catch the value inside a variable and then print those values, right? Whenever we use return, that means we are returning some of the value. Here, what I'll try to do is I'll not return, but I'll just basically print the value. So it can say that, let's say, hello JS. Just an example. Also, you might be seeing like, sometimes I'm using semicolon, sometimes I'm using not. In JavaScript, it is not mandatory to use semicolon at any line of the code. Okay. So here we have seen that this function is returning us the value, which is like a plus b, an addition of the parameter that we had given here. And how do we call the function is by using the function name. And then we had, catch the return value inside a variable, and then we are trying to print. Here, we are not returning any value. Instead, directly we are uh, printing the value over here inside this function. So how do you call this function name? Function is again with the function name. You can directly write greet and then parenthesis, which is this one. Now you don't have to even print because it is directly printing the value. It does not require any parameter. So you just have to call by using greet. If you try to print this, you can say that it is saying hello JS. Right? So you can say that it is saying hello JS. Understood?
Yes, bro.
Right. So you can try to practice this out. Then you'll basically come to know how it is working. Uh, and if you have any kind of question, I am hoping like there will be a couple of questions from this function part whenever you try to practice. But just practice, and then you'll get to know like what is like function, how it is different from the other programming language. I'll discuss one more type, and then we'll continue again in the next session. So second second type of declaration of the function is known as function expression.
Praveen, 1 second. Line number 19, what we are doing here? Greet function.
You're just calling this particular function.
Okay, okay. So no need to semicolon here.
No, no. As I said, like we do not require any
Okay, okay,
semicolon.
okay.
So
Yes, okay,
it
fine,
is right. It is optional in JavaScript. You can also give. There is no harm in that.
fine.
But
Okay.
it is optional in JavaScript. Okay. So this was like functional declaration, and another one is like function expression. So that was like a normal function declaration. So I'll just give a line of which is like a function declaration defines a function with the specified parameters. Parameters can be optional. Anyways, I'll give you the document uh, that I have prepared here for the function in JS. I'll provide you the document as well as soon as we complete the functions. So second is function expression, right? So what is function expression? So a function expression can be stored in a variable. It says that it can be stored in a variable, and the function can be either named or anonymous function. You can see here, a function expression is a function that is assigned to a variable or a property of an object. What is meant by this? So we can see the syntax of The function expression declaration is syntax I'm trying to write. The syntax is here in JavaScript, these are very easy. If you just try to, uh, and try to understand it in a proper way and try to practice few of the things, you'll get it very easily. So the syntax for this is, as it says, a function expression is a function that is assigned to a variable. That means you have to assign a variable. You have to declare a variable. Let's say I am declaring a variable called as const, function name. I'm just giving a function name as a variable name. And then this will be function. And this can take a parameter. And again, starting curly braces and ending curly braces. So this is the syntax of the function declaration by using by utilizing a way called function expression. So whenever we declare a function in a functional expression manner, and it says that it will a function expression is a function that is assigned to a variable. That means whenever you declare a function, this function can either have a name or it cannot. It can be anonymous. So here it is an anonymous with where we do not have any function name. We are just trying to declare a function keyword, and then this keyword itself is taking the value, right? And this value have been assigned to a variable. So what we are trying to say here is, let's say const, then function name, and then we can give a function, give the parameter if it is required, and then it will come curly braces and write the function method. So this is how we declare one type of function in JavaScript. We have given a function. You can also give the name over here. You can also give the name over here, and then it will become a functional expression. That means we are storing a value for this function inside a variable. And whenever you have to call this particular function, you just have to use the variable name, but not the function name. Understanding? So whenever you generate a function expression type of function in JavaScript, this is known as functional expression. Whenever you try to declare a function in functional expression type, it will basically the function will be assigned to a variable, and whenever you have to call this particular function, then you have to call the variable name with parenthesis, not the function. Okay, this is just a syntax. Let's try to quickly finish it off one simple program, and then we'll wrap this up. So let's say we are, I'll just try to write this addition, however we have written over here. So what did we do is we have declared with function keyword and add, this is taking two parameters and returning the value. Now let's say we have to do the same operation by using the functional expression. So how do we do that is, we declare a function first. And then let's say it is taking a two parameters, which is like A and B. Okay. And then it will start with the curly braces. And we are saying just return A plus B. Okay. And we are saying it. So we are saying that it will return A plus B, right? That means we are just trying to add the value. Now, as by the definition, we know that the function expression is a function that is assigned to a variable. So we have to assign this to a variable, let's say, which is called as addition. So it says that we have declared a variable, and for that variable, we are assigning this complete function. Okay, so this is known as functional expression, where function value will be assigned directly to the variable, And whenever you have to call this particular function, you have to call with the name as variable, whatever we have the variable that we have declared. So let's say 10, 10. Okay. And as it is not printing anything, it is just returning. So we have to return inside a, let's say add return inside a variable. So I've declared a variable which is returning, catching, which will catch this particular value, and then you can just add, or you can directly write here uh, like this as well, like console.log, and then addition, and then it will take the 10 and 20. So let's say if we try to print this, try to execute the code. If we try to print the code, for the first directly where we are directly trying to print the value, it is giving us 30. And here we are trying to again catch in a variable, and then that particular variable is getting printed. So it is 20. So this is the function which we declare in a functional expression way. So once again, I'll repeat, a functional expression is a function that is assigned to a variable. Okay. So what we're trying to do here is we're declaring a function uh, without any name, and it is taking a parameters. Like you can say like function, then you are just trying to give a parameter, and then we are doing some kind of operation which is getting assigned an addition directly assigned to a variable. And whenever you have to call this function, you have to call with the variable. You can also see like you can also give a function name. If you want to give a function name, you can also give over here, but let's see what happens. There is nothing changed in that. So it says that either it can be a named function or it can be an anonymous function, which is having no name. Still in the functional expression way, it will be assigned to a variable. And whenever you have to call this particular function, you have to call with the variable name that you have assigned with. Okay. Any doubt over here?
Praveen, one question. Can we call this function with function name?
As you have declared, uh, as you have assigned this to a variable name, right? So you can just try to print it out. There's nothing harm to check it out. Let's say what happened over here. Okay. So if you see this, it says that could not find name ads. Okay. So whenever you use a function in a functional expression where you are assigning that value to a variable, then it will say that, okay, I know only the function as addition over here, but I do not know what is adds. Okay. So if you just remove this, then it will be in simple. It will be able to identify your, as we have seen in the first example, which was like just a functional declaration. Whereas in the functional expression type of declaration, you have to call this with the variable that you have assigned the function to. Okay.
Yes, bro.
I hope this is clear.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So there are few other types of, we have arrow function, we have anonymous function. Anonymous function we have already seen, like which is having a no name kind of, but I'll discuss that again. We have arrow function, we have immediately invoked function, and so on. Those things we'll see in the next session. So